please welcome to stage Don Weigel.
Good morning, NAVIG8. Welcome. Thank you for coming, everybody. I am really excited today. There is so much to talk about. In fact, we don't have time to tell you everything we want to tell you today. We're going to do our best. Look, I really love this walk down memory lane that Rob just gave us. It helps put in perspective where we've come from, the beginning of Nearmap to where we are today. But you know what? There's more to it. Nearmap has actually shaped the industry. And I'm going to talk a bit about that. It's really important to know where we've come from in the industry, how the industry's grown, because that's going to point to where we're going to take things in the future. So let me give you a little bit of walk down memory lane for the geospatial industry. So in my view, there's been 4 ages. I've been watching Lord of the Rings, so I'm stuck on this age thing. But the first age of geospatial looked kind of like this. It was the dawn of digital mapping. Back then, all we cared about was just getting the map onto the computer. And this is where Autodesk came on the scene, Esri. We developed the georelational data model. We started getting some satellites up in the air, things like that. Wasn't really easy to use geospatial information. But then, the second age came. The World Wide Web, search, big data, computing. We finally had computers that could run all this stuff. And this is MapQuest. This was the first web mapping application that was out there. It democratized geospatial so that we could all use it. But next came something really important, the third age. And so the third age is the renaissance of AI. AI had been around since the 50s, but really with the advent of deep learning and the ability to do geo-AI, we started to be able to systematize the creation of data sets and what people call analysis-ready data. I could get data like you do from Nearmap today and use it to create derivative data products. But I think we're on the verge of a fourth age, and this fourth age is really important. Why? Because we move from analysis-ready data to application-ready information. This is the scaling of AI. This is something that's unique. We have things like AWS and S3 and EC2 that allow us to store massive data sets and process massive data sets into information that we can put directly into our enterprise applications. This is new. Okay, so what's next? The Nearmap product stack is really what's enabling this fourth age. Now, you may be familiar with parts of it, but I'm going to walk through some of the key parts and where some of the key innovations are taking place. So, starting with our stack at the very bottom layer, we've got our capture systems. So, HC1, HC2, and now HyperCamera 3. We're going to talk a lot more about HyperCamera 3 and the innovations it enables. The next layer, our coverage. Rob talked about how our coverage has expanded. New Zealand, Australia, Canada, the United States. And we keep expanding it, and it keeps growing. The next layer, our content. Vertical, panorama, oblique, 3D, geometry, postcat, and AI. And there's more coming. And it just keeps getting better and better. Next, the way we deliver this content. There's so many different ways to integrate Nearmap content into your organization, whether it be offline, through Map Browser, download, or APIs. It's flexible, it's easy to get our information, this new geospatial AI information, into your enterprise applications. Okay, now, new. This year, this is the fourth age stuff. New application-ready solutions. I'm going to have a big reveal at the end of the talk, where we're going to announce some new solutions that fit in this category. Okay. So, a bit more about HyperCamera 3. Some really interesting stats. So, 2 years in development. HyperCamera 3 is providing 2 times the amount of detail of HyperCamera 2 at the same altitude. It's providing 4 times the capture area of HC2 at the same resolution. It's as much as 17 times more efficient than our competitors. And the team that's been working on HyperCamera 3, over 200 years of combined experience. They're young guys, but there's just a bunch of them. Okay, so, we've been working with industry-leading contractors around the world to design and create the lenses and mirrors. We've got a supply chain that spans 4 continents. We've got industry experts who help build the Hubble Space Telescope, the optics and stabilization systems in the F-35 and other mission-critical systems. So there's really a lot that's gone into HyperCamera 3. But, I can tell you more. Let's let the engineers and scientists who built this amazing system really explain to you how they've built it.
How do you capture aerial imagery at continental scale? How do we do it in a way that, that really moves the technology forward and allows us to achieve fantastic imaging results, despite the fact that we want to be flying higher, faster than we've ever done before?
So in the last 3 years, we've been working on our next innovation development, which is HyperCamera 3.
HyperCamera 3 represents a big push forwards in terms of resolution, coverage, near-infrared, and viewing angles.
Imagine you're trying to take a picture from about, 6 kilometers, for argument's sake. And you're trying to keep that image stable, and imagine that being a laser pointer pointing at a 50-cent coin, or maybe a dime if you're in the US. And you're doing it in a box that's jumping around like crazy, right? There can be air turbulence moving the plane around. Motion of the plane itself disturbs things. So you've got vibrations, all sorts of vibrations, movements going on, and you're trying to keep a laser pointer at about 6 kilometers away, that's several miles, steady while taking that shot. If you don't do that, your image is going to get ruined.
What if we could actually double the resolution, make it twice as detailed, but fly at the same heights as we do with HyperCamera 2?
Normally you have to trade off between coverage and resolution, but with HyperCamera 3, not only is it the most efficient aerial camera system, but we've done that while also increasing the resolution. An increased efficiency means a larger coverage more often. Alternately, we can fly the system lower and get really high resolution.
We've got phenomenally bright people, a number of PhDs we have, I've lost count of. But it's not about PhDs, it's about people who have got those deep levels of knowledge, whether it's engineering or science, and then bring them together with years and years of experience in what we do.
Mechanical engineers, we've got mechatronics engineers. A lot of this system is about controlling things that are moving and making sure when you're taking that photo, everything is as still as possibly can be.
I'm excited for our customers because it really enables us to capture more content at way better quality levels than we have ever done before, and will benefit not just the raw content, not just people who want to look at the imagery, but the analytics we do over the top of it, and every single aspect of what we offer as a product is going to benefit from it. So to me, it's been a great success, and there's nothing more exciting than seeing it realize the market, and that's where we're at.
There's no other camera system that can come close to HyperCamera 3 in terms of getting a 360-degree view from all angles. And this is for every object everywhere.
I really kind of, get a lot of satisfaction out of doing something like this in Australia. This is real deep tech that is not done in a lot of companies. And, it's like, it's truly satisfying when you're actually able to think of something and literally see it kind of come to life.
All right, so let's take a look at some of the features in HyperCamera 3, or that HyperCamera 3 enables. So, of course, more angles, right? So today, we've got the 4 cardinal directions, right? 4 oblique directions is nice, but more is better, right? So we're now providing up to 14 angles per location on the ground. So this means, more visibility, more insight, and more capabilities that I'll show you in a second. Okay, so one of those capabilities is better 3D. The image on your left is rotating to show you those 14 oblique angles. Now, the image on your right is the 3D reconstruction that's enabled by those 14 different images. Look how smooth it is. Look how realistic it looks. I mean, if you didn't know better, you would say it's a video. I mean, this is not your dad's digital twin. This is something really new and innovative. Okay. Introducing Nearmap near infrared. HyperCamera 3 carries a near infrared sensor on it. Infrared's really critical for a lot of aerial applications. We're going to talk a lot more about that in a bit. But for every RGB image, there's also the fourth band. All of that leads to better AI. We use all of that additional data from HyperCamera 3 to enhance the AI. So we get better insights, better capabilities with AI, better feature detection, better accuracy, better confidence in the data that's generated through our AI pipeline. And then, of course, as we build the new systems, we're expanding coverage. So we'll expand coverage in our urban areas. We'll use HyperCamera 3 to expand in suburban areas. We'll expand our coverage to cover more counties, more infrastructure, and give you more insight across your coverage areas. Okay, so we're going to do a quick demo of HyperCamera 3. To do this, I'm going to introduce my esteemed colleague, Dr. Stephen Neal, who Stephen's Solution Product Manager for Enterprise and has been working very closely with the HyperCamera 3 team and has been really spending a lot of time with the imager. So, Stephen, over to you.
Thank you, Don. I really do feel quite fortunate and quite proud to be able to talk about HyperCamera 3 today to you. It's nice to be here in front of everyone, and a lot of very smart, very hard-working people have been working on this project. Now, it really is an important part of our product. It does form the foundation of all of our products. The extra detail, the clarity, the accuracy, all of those things go through to making our derivative products what they are. Now, I don't just want to talk about it today, I want to show you. So let's have a look at HyperCamera 3 3D in Map Browser. Now, I don't want to talk over this too much, but there's one point that I would like to highlight here, and that's that more angles means better 3D. When we have more angles, we're able to reduce things like occlusion. That means we get a better image and we're better able to reconstruct more detail. A really important outcome of that detail is flatter surfaces and sharper, straighter lines. That means we can extract things like geometry much more accurately from this content. Okay, so that was HyperCamera 3 3D in Map Browser. And next, what I want to show you is the vertical images. So we'll demonstrate what HyperCamera 3 vertical images look like, once again in this Map Browser environment. So that 3D that we just saw, that is made up of some of these images. And we thought the detail was quite good in that 3D. Well, now you can see the true detail and clarity in these images. So we're going to move up here now towards this level crossing area. So when I'm looking at this area, I can see this change in surface material. I can see the tracks of the railway lines. I can see the power lines overhead. And I can see this paintwork, and I can see that it's faded, it's degraded somewhat. These are the same insights that I would be observing down on the ground. So we've seen 3D, we've seen vertical. The next content type, I'm going to switch out of Map Browser for this, is near infrared. So we'll demonstrate what near infrared looks like. Now, near infrared, it's not part of the visible wavelength. It's not part of that visible spectrum. So in order to visualize it, we have to symbolize it or give it some sort of false color. In this case, what we've done is we've calculated NDVI. This is the Normalized Difference Vegetation Index. It's very good for pulling out features of vegetation vigor, but you can also see things like water features and non-vegetated surfaces very well. As we flick back and forth between those images, you can see those things standing out. The greener vegetation shows up as that greener, yellowy color. The surfaces of water or concrete show up as that dark red color. This is a new content type, and this content type, in addition to what we already capture, will help us extract even more features. So I've spoken about 3D, I've spoken about vertical, and this is near infrared, a new content type. So that's some of the content type that we have produced out of HyperCamera 3, and so I'll bring Don back on stage.
So Stephen, I can't let you finish without, kind of filling us in with the critical piece of information here. I mean, the product looks great, but when do we get it? When are people actually going to start seeing this content in Map Browser?
Well, I'm glad you asked, Don, because the team have been working very hard, and overnight, the first production survey came online in Map Browser. It's available for everyone to view now, so that's a Newcastle survey.
Woo! Good.
Also, I'll be out at the hydrology booth, so if you want to have a look for the live audience here, please come and see me afterwards. I'm happy to show you some.
But wait. When do we start to see it in North America?
North America, yeah. Okay, well, the plan is we will have planes in the sky for the leaf-off spring capture in the US as well.
Yes! Thank you, Stephen.
Thank you.
That's great news. I mean, just think of it. You're going to soon see all of this great content in Map Browser available to you, and you'll be able to do so many new and innovative things. So we're super excited. All right, so you could probably just stop right here, right? I mean, that's a lot of information. But I'm not done. There is so much more to tell you guys. I've got a couple of big announcements coming up. You ready? Ready? Okay, good. I think I got a little drum roll here. All right. Announcing Nearmap Gen 5 AI. This is a huge advancement, you guys. We're going to talk a lot about this. Dr. Mike Bewley's going to come up and do a whole overview, but I just want to give you a little foreshadow of what's coming. So, what's in Gen 5? Gen 5 has 29 new feature classes. Think about it. This is a huge advancement. We have now over 500 attributes per property. You don't see that anywhere else in the industry. And we've got some exciting new ways to consume this content through some new APIs. And Mike's going to talk about that in detail. Okay, so what do you think? Sounds good? Okay, we'll cheer later. We'll cheer later with Mike. All right, but let's take a look at what's been available and what's coming. So at Gen 4, these were your AI packs. Each AI pack contains many layers and many attributes, but these are the high-level packs. With Gen 5, we're adding 5 new packs: surface permeability, roof objects, debris, pavement markings, and then a whole bunch of experimental layers. Each one of these packs contains layers, and all of the previous Gen 4 layers in some way or another are upgraded with new layers and run through the Gen 5 model, meaning they have higher confidence, higher accuracy, and just much richer information. So this is big news. Okay. Next, let's talk about impact response. There's some big updates here that I want you all to know about. So first, what is impact response? We saw a little bit of impact response in Rob's presentation, but just to recap, impact response is our service for catastrophes, generally wind, fire, and flood type catastrophes. To date, we have flown over 175 surveys in North America and Australia. What do people do with impact response? Well, they do claim settlement in the insurance industry. They triage damage and loss and dispatch inspectors and first responders. They do loss analysis. They do emergency response and risk modeling. And all of that information is available through Map Browser and through APIs. So that's impact response. But there's a lot more to this story. So impact response been in the news quite a bit lately with Hurricane Ian in Florida. This was quite an event. It occurred for several days, starting on September 28th, where it made landfall in Florida, but then went on to cause havoc in several other states. To date, the damage is estimated at about $50 billion US. And sadly, over 100 people have lost their lives. We did immediately got our planes in the air and were able to capture over 14,000 square kilometers of damage. And we did this over the course of about 3 days with 46 surveys. Now, as all of this was happening, we have been developing some new tools for impact response, and we decided it was time to put them to use. So as the storm approached, we spooled up those resources and were able to run those surveys through our AI pipeline and automatically detect over 136,000 structurally damaged roofs. Think about that, instantaneously. How long would it take you to go through imagery to find 136,000 damaged roofs? A long time. So this is an incredibly valuable product for, as I mentioned earlier, our first responders, our insurance customers, really helping people deal with life-changing events, paying out their claims, possibly even saving lives. So we're very proud that we were able to do this, but it led us to realize, this product is ready to release. So I am very proud to announce that Nearmap AI for impact response is now available. It's still in beta, but we've seen that it works very, very well. And I would encourage you to take a look. This is a powerful combination of AI and impact response. I mean, it's really the first of its kind in the industry, the ability to very rapidly assess damage and take action. Now, what do we do with this? It's not just damaged roofs. It's lots of other types of things as well. In fact, the whole Gen 5 catalog of packs will be available for impact response surveys. So this is a huge release for us. It's really a big deal. You can see here the types of damage. This is from Hurricane Ian, wreckage, structural damage, missing tiles, vegetation debris, downed trees and shrubbery. And when you look at this level of destruction, at a regional level, you can see here that almost every single property is affected in some way or other. So this is an incredibly valuable product. I encourage you to take a look. All right, next up, Map Browser updates. There are a lot of exciting new updates in Map Browser that are going to make your work much easier, much more efficient, and more fun. All right? So let's start with the impact response tools in Map Browser. So we've added tools in Map Browser to make it easier to navigate to surveys, see the delineation of a survey, see icons that represent where the surveys are, and just generally make it easier to investigate the visual imagery, which is great. So there's more to it than that as well, and I'm gonna get to how you can do even more with Map Browser. All right? Next up, improved AI in Map Browser. So take what I just talked about, the ability to use AI with post-cat data, post-catastrophe data, and now to be able to browse through it in Map Browser. But the big deal here is that we've updated the AI in Map Browser to Gen 5. So now, if you're a Gen 5 subscriber, everything that you get in the API matches perfectly with what you see in Map Browser, right? So you've got now analysis and visualization all in one product. This is really a huge innovation. All right, there's more. The next thing I want to announce is GeoData Link for Map Browser. What's GeoData Link? GeoData Link lets you bring into Map Browser your GIS data. So if you've got an Esri geodatabase, you can connect to that REST endpoint and bring live data into Map Browser. So this is not importing, this is connecting to a geodatabase. That means you can bring in all of the points, lines, and polygons with all of the annotation and labels and the styling. We've set up new tools in my account to be able to connect to your endpoints, do all of your styling, and manage that connection. You can connect to multiple departments. For example, this parcel comes from the tax assessor, but you might want to bring in information from the utilities department or the roads department or special districts, stoplights, stop signs. If you're a utility company or a telco, you can bring all of your network data and display it along with your Nearmap imagery. This is really, really a great innovation. All right, this one is something I know a lot of you have been asking for a long time. You know, we introduced projects in Map Browser some time ago. This is a way for you to store your work, your annotations, your labeling, and come back to it and keep working. But the number one ask that people have said is, this is great, but I'd really like to be able to share my work with other people in the organization. Right? So now we're making projects multi-user in Map Browser. So you'll be able to collaborate with people in your organization. We're going to make the data management much more robust so that you can have multi-user, multi-device collaboration. But we're also adding multi-user editing for real time. This is going to change the way a lot of organizations work and really bring Map Browser into your enterprise workflows and make it a much more valuable tool for you. All right. Next. This is the big reveal. This is what I meant when I talked about this fourth age that we're entering. Nearmap property assessments. What is this? This is ready-built application data for your property assessment application. So if you're in the insurance industry, if you're a mortgage banking industry, property management, these are tools that work for you right out of the box. AI is an incredibly powerful tool, but if you're not a data scientist or you're not a GIS analyst, it can be a little bit hard to use. And so what we've done is built a series of purpose-built applications that are application-ready information. This is GeoAI at scale that allows you to take advantage of the power of AI without having to be a programmer, data scientist, GIS analyst. So let's talk about these. There's three of them. The first one is Nearmap Roof Condition Assessment. What is this? It is a tool that takes all of our roof-oriented AI and combines it into a composite score that allows you to assess the condition of a roof. Now, if you're an insurance adjuster and you're deciding whether or not to underwrite this property, this is incredibly valuable information. Why? I don't have to send an inspector on site. I don't have to climb a ladder. I don't have to take pictures. I don't have to write up an assessment to hand in to my underwriter. I can do it all from the desktop. Incredibly valuable. So that's property assessment number one. The second one is Nearmap Fire Risk Assessment. Okay, so same thing. Every property that I look at as I'm doing underwriting or mortgage banking, I need to understand what the risk is at that property for a fire happening and what the potential damage could be if a fire occurred. What we're doing is taking into account the amount of combustible material within specific buffer areas around the property. We're taking into account the fire-prone nature of the area, and we're going to be taking into account our infrared data that can assess the health of the vegetation and whether it's dried and dead vegetation and therefore more combustible than living vegetation. Both these products, you can expect these, the roof condition report or assessment will be available the end of this month. Fire risk will be available at the beginning of Q1. And then to round out the trio is our flood risk assessment. And John Corbett will be doing a session on flood risk a little bit later on. But as we all know, the propensity for floods is highly dependent on elevation. And of course, Nearmap digital elevation models are the best in the business. So this is going to let us assess the risk of individual properties based on their elevation, but also based on models that we are building into the product to be able to model the flood-prone nature of the entire area. And we'll talk a lot more about that. Okay, so that's it for me. And I'm really, really proud of these innovations. I believe they're really changing the game in terms of how AI is used in the enterprise, and I can't wait for you all to take a look at them. So, up next, I'm going to introduce my esteemed colleague and friend, Dr. Mike Bewley, who's going to tell us a lot more about what's going on with AI. Thank you, everybody.